did this happen?
Anxiety about this.
Get your hands in the air. Oh gosh, it's Mike.
I'm sorry.
Mike Howell is pretty much the definition of a relaxed small-town stoner. He spends his days working as a convenience store clerk in the quiet town of Lyman, West Virginia, living a simple life with his girlfriend Phoebe most of his time on. The job is wasted sketching out his own comic series, The Adventures of Apollo, Abe, and Chip the Brick, which honestly feels like the only thrilling thing he has going for him. But there's a big problem holding Mike back for some reason. He literally can't leave Lyman anytime he tries. Like when he once attempted to go on a trip to Hawaii. His body completely shuts down and he spirals into severe panic attacks. It makes him feel like he's letting Phoebe down, especially since deep down he wants to take the next step and propose to her. The issue is he doesn't even think he deserves her. What Mike doesn't realize is that his life is built on a lie. Hidden beneath his chill, unmotivated personality is something far more dangerous. He's actually a sleeper agent trained by the CIA. His memories have been completely erased. But that doesn't mean he's safe. In fact, it's the total opposite. The same organization that created him is now turning against him. Well, Mike is stuck. Living his normal, boring routine, things are heating up behind the scenes inside the CIA. Senior Agent Lacier receives a serious call. A classified program known as Tough Guy has been reactivated, and its next target is Mike Howell. Later that night, Mike and Phoebe are sitting outside under the stars, just talking about his comic like they always do off in the distance emergency. Crews are dealing with a crashed car, but Mike's stuck in his own thoughts. He starts comparing himself to the tree that stopped the crash, something that got in the way of where things were supposed to go. In his mind, he's holding Phoebe back, but she shuts that down immediately, telling him he's nothing like that. At the same time, Lacier isn't about to sit back and let things play out. She confronts Agent Yates, the guy running the Tough Guy program. She's convinced he's targeting her old work just to prove a point, but Yates brushes it off, claiming it's just cleanup for his supposed security breach. In reality, he fully intends to eliminate Mike and destroy everything Lacier built. The next morning, Mike heads out early to meet his dealer, Rose, but instead of anything serious, it turns out he's just buying fireworks. He's planning something special for Phoebe. After that, he heads into work like any normal day, completely unaware that everything is about to turn upside down.
While he's behind the counter chilling and doing his usual thing, Lacier walks in. She steps up and starts saying a string of random words to him, almost like nonsense. Mike has no idea what she's talking about and just assumes she's crazy. But what she's actually doing is trying to trigger his programming to wake up whatever was buried inside him. When nothing seems to happen, she leaves, clearly disappointed. What neither of them realizes is it actually worked. Not long after, Mike notices two guys hanging around outside near his car. Before he can even process what's going on, they rush him, but instead of getting overwhelmed, something insane happens. Mike moves on pure instinct. He reacts with speed and precision he didn't even know he had, taking both attackers down effortlessly. Completely shaken, he calls Phoebe and tells her what just happened, including the part where he somehow killed a guy using a spoon. She's just as confused as he is, trying to understand how something like that is even possible before they can figure anything out. The sheriff pulls up. Meanwhile, Yates gets word that his men were taken out, and he's furious. The fact that Mike handled them so easily confirms his suspicion. Lacier must have activated him, knowing she's still in town. Yates orders a full lockdown. He has Air Force Commander Otis seal off Lyman completely and track her down. As for Mike, he gets arrested. But ironically, that might be the safest place for him right now because the real threat is just getting started. Back at the station, Mike is completely overwhelmed, trying to explain what happened at the store, but nothing coming out of his mouth even sounds believable. He's stumbling over every word, while Phoebe is more focused on something else entirely. The woman who came into the shop and what she said to him. When Mike repeats the exact phrase Lacier used word for word, it throws both of them off. He doesn't even know how he remembers it. Something clearly isn't right. Sheriff Watts steps in to question them. Already annoyed with Mike before any of this even started, he's never liked him, especially with his constant weed use, but now things have escalated way beyond that. Phoebe tries defending him, insisting it was self-defense, but Watts isn't interested in hearing it. He tells her to pick a side. Either she's his girlfriend or she's acting like his mom before anything can go further. The power suddenly cuts out. The backup systems kick in, dim lights flickering on, and just like that, everything changes. A deputy moves Mike and Phoebe into a holding cell, thinking it's just a precaution, but outside, the real danger has already arrived. The assassins, Crane and Logger, have reached the station and they waste no time. Crane storms through the upper level, tearing the place apart and taking out anyone in her way. At the same time, Logger heads straight for the holding area with one goal: kill Mike. The second he gets close, Mike's instincts take over again. Without hesitation, Mike fights back, moving with precision that doesn't even make sense to him. He completely overwhelms Logger, knocking his teeth out and locking him inside the very cell he was about to use upstairs. Crane finishes off Sheriff Watts, but not before spotting Mike and Phoebe making their escape. She opens fire, forcing them to run, but in his final moments, Watts manages to cuff her leg to a chair, slowing her down. Even then, she doesn't stop. She pulls out a grenade and tries to take them out anyway, but Mike reacts instantly, tossing it right back. The entire station erupts in an explosion. Somehow, Crane survives, but only barely. Mike walks straight up to her and without hesitation, brutally finishes her off with his bare hands. At this point, whatever was buried inside him is fully starting to surface elsewhere. Lacier is still trying to get back into town, but she's blocked by a full containment setup, hazmat teams, roadblocks, the works. When she calls Yates to question it, he makes it clear: stand down or be taken out with the rest. That's not happening. Lockator makes it clear she's not backing off. If anything, she's going to bring him down herself. Meanwhile, Mike and Phoebe try to escape like he suggested earlier, heading toward his car. But the second they get close, it explodes. The bomb, planted earlier by the assassins, goes off instantly, leaving them stranded with no easy way out. Lockator eventually reaches the destroyed station, seeing firsthand just how messy this operation has become. This wasn't supposed to happen like this. She contacts her trusted ally, Agent P, convinced that something is seriously off. If these were professional assets, the job would have been clean and quiet, not total chaos. She needs answers, and fast. At the same time, Mike and Phoebe make their way to Rose's house, hoping to lay low. But something else is happening to Mike now. His memories, or at least fragments of them, are starting to come back. Bits of knowledge that make no sense, skills he shouldn't have, things he somehow just knows, and it's only getting worse. Once inside Rose's place, Mike is clearly not the same anymore. His mind is starting to piece things together, but in the worst way possible. Random knowledge is flooding in: combat tactics, weapons, even military hardware. At one point, he casually realizes he could probably name dozens of different tanks without even thinking about it, and that's freaking him out. Phoebe notices it too, but oddly, she doesn't react the way you'd expect. Instead of digging deeper, she kind of brushes it off like she doesn't want to go there. Rose, on the other hand, is already on edge. He rushes them inside, paranoid about some supposed virus spreading through town. Inside, a couple of his friends, Big Harold and Quentin, are also hiding out, trying to stay safe. To make things worse, the news is now painting Mike and Lacier as the cause of the outbreak. According to the broadcast, Lacier was involved in some bizarre incident with lab monkeys, and now everything is spiraling out of control. It sounds ridiculous, but it's enough to put everyone on edge. Rose demands answers. Mike, still trying to process everything himself, gives the only explanation he can think of. He might not even be human. He says he could be some kind of robot. That's enough for Rose to completely lose trust, convinced Mike is infected or dangerous. He pulls a gun on him, but in a split second, Mike disarms him effortlessly, then hands the weapon right back. He's not trying to hurt anyone. Still, Rose isn't taking chances. He locks both Mike and Phoebe in the basement until he figures out what to do next. Down there, Phoebe checks on Mike, asking if he feels sick or off, but when Mike looks at himself, In a mirror, his answer is the exact opposite. He feels perfect. Meanwhile, Lakater finally gets the intel she was looking for from P. She learns the truth about Yates's assets. These are trained agents. They're former mental patients. Violent criminals turned into weapons through brainwashing. That explains everything. Yates, however, is already moving forward. He plans to hit Rose's house in waves, starting with a small team, and he authorizes the use of a special gas designed to neutralize targets without letting them harm themselves or others. Back in the basement, Mike is actually considering proposing to Phoebe. But before he can say anything, the gas starts leaking into the house upstairs. Rose and his friends don't stand a chance. They're taken out almost instantly. An assassin makes his way down into the basement, but Mike reacts again, eliminating him before things get worse. Phoebe rushes with him outside, taking down another attacker waiting there. But the gas is hitting Mike hard. He collapses. For a moment, it looks like he's out. But what's really happening is something else entirely. The gas doesn't stop him. It unlocks more of him. When Mike wakes up, everything is different. He's no longer confused. Now he wants answers. He immediately confronts Phoebe, demanding to know how she knew about the gas. Something she shouldn't have known. She tries to dodge it like before, giving vague excuses. But this time, it doesn't work. Mike isn't buying it anymore. Finally, Phoebe breaks. She tells him the truth. She was never just his girlfriend. She was assigned to him. She's his handler. 5 years ago, she was sent to monitor him and keep him stable. She insists that her feelings are real, that she actually does love him. But for Mike, it's too late. Everything he thought was real is now a lie. Overwhelmed, he walks away. Heading back to the car, meeting Space, Phoebe follows, trying to explain, trying to fix things, but he can't separate what's real from what's fake anymore. And right then, they get hit. A car slams into them, sending their vehicle off a bridge and flipping it completely. Logger is back. He drags Phoebe out of the wreck, but instead of killing her, he knocks her out. He has orders to bring her in alive. Mike, still trapped inside, is left helpless as Logger pours gasoline over the car and sets it on fire. It looks like it's over, but at the last second, Lacier shows up. She pulls Mike out just before the car explodes behind them. Phoebe, however, is gone. Phoebe wakes up in custody face to face with Yates. She's surprised seeing him actually out in the field. He's more of a desk guy than anything else. Immediately, she questions whether he even has the authority to be running an operation like this. Yates shuts that down fast. He reminds her that she lost any right to question him the moment she got emotionally involved with her target. Instead of doing her job and returning to the agency, she stayed with Mike. To him, that's all the leverage he needs. Now he's in control. He's got the operation, the assets, and with Mike supposedly dead, a promotion waiting for him. But what he doesn't realize, Mike is still very much alive. Lakater brings Mike somewhere safe, but the second they stop, he demands the truth. No more half answers, no more lies. So she finally tells him everything. When Mike was 18, he got arrested on drug charges. At that same time, Lacier was recruiting for a classified program called Wiseman. Mike volunteered. Out of everyone they tested, he was the only one who actually worked. The problem, it came at a cost. The programming they put in his head started driving him insane. It wasn't stable, so Lacier shut the entire program down. She gave everyone new identities, new lives, including Mike. That normal life he's been living, it was all manufactured. Even his fears, the reason he can't leave town. The panic attacks that was all built into him as a safeguard, a way to keep him contained. To Mike, it all comes down to one thing. The CIA completely messed with his mind, then dumped him into a fake life with a fake relationship. Before he can even process that, they're spotted. Someone nearby recognizes them and calls it in. Yates gets the location immediately and he's furious. Without hesitation, he orders a drone strike. Phoebe, realizing just how far he's willing to go, tries to escape, but she's quickly caught again. At this point, she knows Mike come back for her, even if it's a terrible idea, and that's exactly what he does. Despite Lacier warning him that he's walking straight into danger, Mike decides to return to his house. In his mind, none of this matters anymore. If he's going to die, he's not running from it. Inside the house, the tension is completely different. Now, Mike is calm, almost too calm, while Lacier stays alert, watching every angle. She tells him something important before things kick off. Phoebe didn't just pretend to care. She chose to stay when she was supposed to leave and return to the agency. She gave up her entire career just to be with him. Before Mike can really react to that, they're attacked. An assassin bursts in, catching Lacer off guard. Mike reacts instantly, throwing the attacker out the window. But that's just the beginning. Outside, Otis arrives and immediately opens fire on the house, confirming Mike's location to Yates. And Yates doesn't hesitate. He orders the drone to strike, even with his own people still inside. Gunfire tears through the house as everything erupts at once. Otis pushes inside, firing nonstop, forcing Mike to move and take cover. Another assassin, Beetle, tries to corner him, but Lacer steps in and blasts him with a shotgun before he can finish the job. Overhead, the drone is seconds away from striking. Yates gives the order to fire, but there's one problem. Petey, the one responsible for confirming the strike, freezes. He can't bring himself to do it. At the last possible moment, his hesitation causes the drone to miss its window entirely, flying right past without launching the attack. Inside, Mike is still pinned down under heavy fire. But then, in a split-second decision, he does something insane. He ricochets a bullet off a frying pan, redirecting the shot and taking Otis out instantly. With the strike failed and the situation spiraling, Petty knows he's in serious trouble. So, he makes a bold move. He contacts Yates' superior, Agent Kruger, and confesses everything that's been happening. As Kruger mobilizes toward Lyman, Yates watches his entire operation start falling apart. His team is being pulled, his authority stripped away. It's all collapsing. Desperate, he makes one last move. He calls Mike directly. Mike tells him to give up, that it's over. But Yates isn't ready to let go. Instead, he reveals that Phoebe is still alive. If Mike wants to see her again, he'll have to come get her. He lets Phoebe speak. Through everything, she admits the truth. She's been the one holding him back this entire time. The tree he talked about earlier, that was her. But even after all the lies, she still genuinely loves him. That's all Mike needs to hear, that he's coming for her. Yates activates every remaining asset. 17 killers all ready to take Mike down. He warns them to stay alert, expecting Mike to sneak in quietly, but Mike does the exact opposite. He makes the loudest entrance possible, using the fireworks he bought earlier. He launches them straight from an armored truck, turning the entire area into chaos. While everyone is distracted, he storms the location. Yates grabs Phoebe and retreats into a convenience store with the remaining men, but Mike crashes right in after them, literally driving straight through the building. Over the intercom, he calls out to Phoebe, reassuring her that he's there, that he's coming for her. Then the real fight begins. Mike is completely surrounded, but he keeps moving, using anything he can find as a weapon, every shelf, every object. It all becomes part of the fight. Even after getting stabbed, he doesn't slow down. Phoebe begs Yates to stop, to just let it end, but he refuses to listen. Mike pushes forward, taking hit after hit. At one point, a bullet grazes his head, but instead of stopping him, it only seems to push him further, one by one. He takes them all down until only Lager is left. Yates drags Phoebe into the back room, ordering Lager to finish Mike, but Phoebe fights back, buying time as she manages to free herself and go after Yates. Meanwhile, Lager tracks Mike down. Instead of attacking right away, he talks. He tells Mike they're the same, both victims of what the CIA did to them, controlled, manipulated, turned into weapons with no real choice in the matter. The two clash anyway, brutally injuring each other. But when Mike finally gets the upper hand, something changes. He stops for the first time. He sees Lager for what he really is, someone just like him. So instead of killing him, he lets him live. Elsewhere, Lockator has Yates restrained, literally choking him out until Agent Kruger arrives. He shuts everything down immediately, treating both of them like they've completely lost control. Phoebe finally makes it back to Mike. He's barely standing, covered in blood, but still alive. Together, they try to walk out. But the moment they step outside, they're met with a wall of police and SWAT. Guns aimed directly at them, and somehow, Mike still finds a moment right there. In the middle of everything, he proposes to Phoebe. They don't even get the chance to finish the moment before they're both taken down. Afterward, everything gets cleaned up. P is arrested. Yates and Lacier are brought before Kruger, who makes it clear that someone is going to answer for what happened. Yates tries to justify himself, saying if things had worked, he'd be praised instead of punished. But it didn't. Kruger shoots him on the spot. Lakater expects to be next, but instead, Kruger reveals something unexpected. He was her inside. Source the entire time. He warned her, but now she's created something dangerous. Mike is fully active again, and that's not something they can ignore. Lacier argues that it's actually a win. One Wiseman asset just wiped out 17 tough guy operatives. That makes Mike the most successful subject they've had in decades. Killing him would be a waste. In the end, Mike wakes up locked inside a CIA holding cell. An agent approaches him, addressing him not as Mike, but as Agent Howell. And just like that, it's over.